Hello and welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. My name is Joseph Carroll. I write under the pen name J.R. Carroll. And today we are going to talk about Expeditionary Force, a book series by Craig Allenson. Before we jump into that, just wanted to remind all of you, if you are a subscriber and you comment and like the video, I am still doing a giveaway at 200 subscribers. So we're most of the way there. So why not, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, go ahead and give me a subscribe and you may get yourself a nice prize. I will be announcing what that prize will be on the next video. So let's get into this. Expeditionary Force is a science fiction space opera, military buddy cop, all rolled into one. And I'll try to keep it mostly spoiler free, but pretty much what I'm going to tell you is will be evident on the back of the book or in the beginning of the book. Now, I've actually listened to this on audiobook all the way through. I just finished book 14. And normally, I like to do individual reviews and stuff, but given that we're 14 books in, and I'm trying not to reread so many books since I'm rereading the Dresden Files right now with a big group of people. Try not to do too many rereads. But this is one of my favorite series of all time, and I just kind of want to give it some more love here. I don't see too much stuff on Booktube about it, although I did just recently find out that one of my friends here on Booktube, AP from A Critical Dragon, actually is up to date to the newest book now, so that's pretty cool. Maybe we can do some stuff in the future, but this book was sold to me as kind of a Dresden in space. We follow a soldier by the name of Joe Bishop, and he is fresh into the military. He's only been in the military for a few years at the beginning of the series, and aliens invade our planet, and he kind of stumbles his way through to become somewhat of a hero. He's from Maine and kind of saves his town or whatever, and through this intervention, these aliens have technology that is so far beyond us that there's nothing we could do to them. And in this first contact, they kind of devastate our planet infrastructure-wise. Kind of making us unable to use power. Kind of messing up our power grid and stuff like that. And we're kind of roped into this galaxy-wide war that's been going on for thousands of years. And it's one of these things where we bounce back and forth. Who's the bad guys? Who's on our side? Who isn't? And through all this, Joe Bishop stumbles upon a AI, and this AI is ancient, like over 1 million years old. So he is well in advance of any of the species that we've interacted with in this series. And the way they kind of build up, it's like tier systems. It's like there's like 4 different tiers, and we're on tier 4, or not even considered a tier. but he helps Joe escape a situation, and then they kind of team up and start this whole shenanigans. And the best thing about this series, especially at the beginning of the series, is Craig Allison's writing. It's just amazing. Nobody does better dialogue than him. At the beginning of this, the AI's name is, well, the name that Joe Bishop gives to him is Skippy. And Skippy is a very arrogant, being. He thinks that we're nothing but a bunch of filthy monkeys. And you will hear that repeated hundreds of times throughout the series, if not thousands of times. And Joe and Skippy become, basically become best friends, and they just tear each other apart. If you just randomly heard people say the things that Skippy and Joe say to each other, you would be like, man, they really don't like each other. But especially for a man, you hearing that, you're like, oh yeah, me and my best friend, we talk about each other like that. And these are sizable books. They're not small, and I will say that a lot of it is taken up by like dialogue. Craig Allison has this way of just entertaining you with just people talking back and forth, whereas a lot of authors, at least I would be like, can we move along? Can we push the plot forward? Let's continue this. But Allison is such a great dialogue writer that you're just like, you're happy to just sit in there and listen to conversations that people are having, which makes him different. I mean, it's just that's a great great thing. You don't want all these authors to be exactly the same. And for all my Dresden fans out there, if you follow my channel, I assume you're probably a Dresden fan. The way that Skippy was sold to me, and the way I sell him to other people, is he's basically like Bob the Skull in space. Very snarky, know-it-all. This may be the funniest book series I've ever read. A lot of people like Jim Butcher's the jokes and the comedy that he kind of puts in there, but nothing comes close to Craig Allison writing humor. It's just it's great stuff. But another thing that happens in this series, you would think with having this massive AI that's way ahead of everybody, it's kind of like magic, right? He can just do whatever he wants. But Craig always comes up with clever ways to hold Skippy back, whether it's he can't do certain things or certain functions that have been put into him by the elders, by the old race that made him. And then also they restrict him by having them use like junker spaceships, or just these certain spaceships can do things, and he can push them beyond their natural, their known limits. But certain ones he could be like, well, this technology that's in here, I can only push it so far, so I can't do this. Or I was able to do this with this one, but I can't do it with this one. And he always finds a clever way to do something different. Like if he manipulates something, the system, there's a system how all these, there's wormhole systems and stuff that allow ships to get around the galaxy. Well, if he manipulates one, he can't quite do it the same way the next time. So, you can't always have him just being like, oh, why can't you just do this one again? Or, and it would be very boring. But Craig is a master of filling out ways to make things, fresh and new. And he also has this way of, sneaking something up on you. And now, some readers might not like this, but he does this in quite a bit of these books. There's 14 books now, where he'll take you through the book, and then just when you think that it's the climax, he kind of spins it on you like, well, he'll sneak in and be like, well, I was actually lying to you. When you think all is lost, he's like, well, it's actually lying to you because we were doing this. Instead of being like Stephen King where he just goes off on a 3-hour tangent, he compacts it into like a 15-minute segment where he's like, we were actually making everyone believe this. So he kind of leaves the reader in the dark till the last second too, and you're like, oh, at least me, I'm like, oh, I see what you did. That's good. But let's try not to fill us too much with spoilers. But if you like sci-fi, military, there's a lot of government stuff and political intrigue, and hierarchies and what's next, what's the real big bad. There's always twists and turns around the corner. And R.C. Bray is one of the best narrators in all of audiobooks. So if if this has kind of interested you, leave a comment. Let me know if you've actually read or listened to Expeditionary Force. Give me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.